enhance gut health. Nishta, thank you very much for coming today. Over to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. And I am going to talk to you about different areas of gut health and how I want to share with you the importance of how to look after your gut. But I also want to talk to you about all the steps, because I often hear people saying, oh, can I just take a probiotic and this will fix this or it will fix that. So let's go into the mechanisms of everything and let's start from the beginning, because I think if I explain things to you the way I explain things to my patients, you will get a better understanding of gut health and the importance of it. So 2000 years ago, Hippocrates, who was the father of medicine, had said all diseases begin in the gut. This is so true, because people, when you think of gut diseases, you might think of things like IBS or Crohn's or colitis or diarrhea or constipation, but nobody thinks about if you've got mental health issues, if you're suffering from anxiety, if you're suffering from depression, if you are suffering from any kind of mental health issues like anxiety and depression or OCD, 60-70% of your serotonin lives in your gut and not your brain, which research is now finding out. The gut microbiome, which I'll go into a little bit later, is also super important, because that's all the bacteria that lives in your gut, and it's responsible for neurotransmitters, hormones, and just your whole general well-being. But serotonin is a neurotransmitter which it helps with sleep, it helps with appetite control, in inhibiting pain, your moods, things like that. So if your gut is dysbiotic and you are getting OCD or getting anxious, or even kids with ADHD, things like that, it's down to gut health. And nobody put two and two together. Other things, these are not limited to just these things, but a few examples of other diseases that can happen if your gut is dysbiotic are things like psoriasis, eczema, autoimmune disease, asthma, arthritis, osteoporosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, acne, diabetes. Those are just a few. So let's talk about digestion. If I were to ask you, where does digestion begin? Most people would think in the mouth or in the stomach, but it actually begins in the brain. So imagine if I tell you to think of a lemon right now, you think of a lemon, what's the first thing that's going to happen? Your brain is going to send a trigger to your mouth and you're going to start to produce a little bit of saliva. So that digestion actually begins in the brain. If you are thinking of eating something sugary right now, you want that piece of chocolate bar or something, your pancreatic enzymes are going to actually start, your pancreas is going to actually start producing a little bit of hormone to start getting that going. So if you're walking past a bakery, you smell that bread, your brain is signaling you, so it's okay, I'm going to go in and get that bread. You smell it. You then chew it. Chewing is so important with digestion, because the brain's signaling the saliva to start producing amylase. Amylase is the first protein that breaks down when you're chewing. You then chew. The brain then signals the esophagus to push that down the throat. Then you've got hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is so, so important. And these days, a lot of people go to the doctors with acid problems, and 9 times out of 10 you actually have low stomach acid and not high stomach acid, but you then get given drugs like omeprazole. So obviously if you've got an ulcer or you've got things going on, you need those drugs, or if you're taking certain other medications, the doctor needs to give you those. But 9 times out of 10, if you've got low stomach acid, it is so important to know how much stomach acid you've got and what's going on, because the role of stomach acid is, there's many roles for stomach acid. Firstly, it's there to break down the protein. Whenever you eat protein, it's got to break down protein and other foods. Your stomach doesn't have teeth. So the role of the hydrochloric acid is to break down that food into very, very, very liquid particles so that it can go into the small intestine and the amino acids can then be uptaken and you've got absorption going on. If you're not chewing your food properly, you've got big particles of food going down into the stomach. If you haven't got enough hydrochloric acid, why would you not have enough hydrochloric acid? Stress is one of the big factors. There's lots of different reasons, but in today's world, stress is a big factor. And a lot of people say, yeah, but I'm not stressed. If you think back to when we were cavemen, we only had to worry about the sun going up, and you're getting up, you're hungry, you need to go and get some food. You are not getting up to an alarm clock, you're getting up with your circadian rhythm, you're going to bed when the sun goes down, and you're going out to eat. We didn't have that much food, so we were not picking all day long and grazing like we do these days, or a lot of people will do these days. And when you're stressed, like when your alarm clock goes off first thing in the morning, that is a big stressor. You should be waking up automatically in the morning. Your eyes should be waking up really as the sun goes up in the morning, and you should start getting sleepy as the sun goes down. Nowadays we've got extra stress of Wi-Fi and like radio waves and microwaves and lots of other things that are attacking the cells too. But when we are stressed, so if the alarm clock goes off first thing in the morning, that's your first stressor. If you put a snooze button on, that's a little mini stressor, and then another mini stressor. Then maybe you're running late for work, so you're in the shower, you get ready, you go, you're eating on the go, nobody's sitting there spending that time eating their breakfast, or you're eating all the time, you're grazing as the day goes on, eating on the run. A lot of people eat at their desks. That has a massive production on what is going on with your whole digestive system, but your HCl in particular. Now, if you haven't got enough hydrochloric acid, what then tends to happen is bigger food particles get through. They shouldn't be getting through, but they do because you haven't got enough hydrochloric acid to break it down. On top of that, you might have a low vitamin D. A lot of us have low vitamin D. I mean, a lot of people don't even know they've got low vitamin D. Vitamin D is so crucial. It's the gatekeeper. So what I tell my patients, it's like the analogy I give them to make it easy is you've got those guards at Buckingham Palace. They are guarding the gates. The gates are nice and closed. And you've got the guards there. What happens if you've got a load of people outside? The gate is slightly open and there are no guards there. That gate is then going to open and everybody's going to get in that shouldn't be getting in, and people are going to be coming in and out. Same thing with your vitamin D. It holds the tight junctions together in the gut. Once that starts to open up, you start getting proteins that shouldn't be getting in to go in, and toxins come out. Then you've got your psoriasis, your eczema, your asthma, your other autoimmune conditions. So it's crucial to keep that tight junction closed. Lack of hydrochloric acid is going to get bigger particles to drop in, and then it's going to start damaging that gut. It's like a cheesecloth with little holes, and then you put a little bit more holes every time you're doing those food proteins. Also, nowadays, the way the food is manufactured, I mean, gluten is really a controversial topic, but gluten, the way it's manufactured these days, is not good for any of us because it is full of glyphosates and other chemicals, and the way they manufacture it. Wheat is the number one fastest growing commodity and grain that can be produced to feed the world very quickly, and most people's diets in the Western world consist of a lot of wheat. People don't think about it because it's cereal for breakfast. Then instant coffee also has some gluten binders in it. At lunchtime, you might have a sandwich or something. Somebody might have an instant coffee and a biscuit at 4 o'clock. Then in the evening, they've got pasta. Even if they've got Indian food, you've got chapatis or whatever. What happens is if you are healthy enough and your immune system and your whole digestive system is able to cope, every time anybody eats gluten, those tight junctions actually open up. There is research and studies showing this. So if you are healthy enough, after a few days, the lining starts to repair itself. It will then close back up and you're fine. But if you're doing this every single day, 365 days of the year, and you're stressed and you're eating on the go, and you've got other things, you're damaging that gut lining. So it's really key to be eating mindfully, knowing what you're eating. I'll go into food a little bit later on. So hydrochloric acid, how do you know if you've got low hydrochloric acid? So the role of hydrochloric acid is to mainly break down food and protein. So if you've eaten something and you feel like, you know, you've got a brick in your stomach and things are not moving along and it feels really heavy and you're just feeling bloated, you may be low in hydrochloric acid. And digestion starts from the north and it goes to the south. And if something is wrong in the north, it's going to affect the south. So your brain is the first point of the north. Then you go down to the stomach. Then you go down to the small intestines. Now, if the hydrochloric acid has broken everything up, great, because the amino acids are getting in. You haven't got that issue with leaky gut and gut permeability. Things are going fine. If not, then you're going to start getting this gut permeability first of all. The next part of that north to south with digestion is your pancreas, pancreatic enzymes. The pancreas breaks down starches like rice and carbohydrates. So if you haven't got enough pancreatic enzymes coming through, you're going to get maybe that like feeling really burpy, very distended stomach. That then has a knock-on effect because the pancreas stimulates the gallbladder. The gallbladder then produces bile. What the bile does is it breaks down fat and it helps your body to get rid of the fat. So if you have got like really smelly stools, floaty stools, you can't eat fried food, everything passes through, you're getting a lot of diarrhea. That may be a bile issue. A lot of women, especially as we age, we have an issue with bile production, gallbladder sludge it's called, where everything gets really sludgy. And instead of producing nice squirty bile, it's like a car that's got really old oil, you know, where it's all sticky and it's not coming out right. So that's then having a knock-on effect. You're going from north all the way to south. Then you've got the large intestine. In the large intestine, you have got the gut microbiome. This is like, there's so much research done on the gut microbiome now. And this is a whole colony of trillions and trillions of bacteria that are all in the gut. They've done like this massive study on the human gut microbiome now, where there are different bacteria that do different things. And some are good, some are bad, but it's not that they're good or bad in particular. They've got a role to play and they are responsible for breaking down hormones, for breaking for your mood, for lots and lots of different things that can affect your gut microbiome. Again, stress, eating in a stressful environment, eating in a hurry, shallow breathing, not chewing your food properly, combining the wrong kinds of foods, obviously alcohol, drugs, sugary foods, starchy, or white food is what I say, beige food, like your white breads, your pastas, your potatoes, things like that. So you need diversity to feed that gut microbiome. So you need to eat a diet diverse in vegetables. I tell my patients to eat a rainbow, eat that rainbow. And when I have little kids coming in, I give them rainbow charts and they will bring these charts back to me and they're like, I've had a beetroot and that's red, and I've had carrots and those are orange, and I've had kale. Every day I want like at least 9 different colored vegetables and 2 or 3 fruits. Why not to have too many fruits is you want to balance the blood sugars. Fruits are also high. It's, you know, people are like, oh, I can't have mangoes, they're really bad for you. Mangoes are great for you. There's no problem with mangoes. They're high in vitamin A, they're high in antioxidants, they're great. But how much of that mango you eat is going to make a difference. When you eat that mango, it's going to make a difference. But if you're eating 6 mangoes, of course, it's going to spike your blood sugar and be bad for you. So be mindful of what you eat. Chew your food slowly. Let your body absorb. Fruit should always be eaten on an empty stomach too. You should give yourself at least 30 minutes before. eating anything else. Combining which foods you combine is also important, because you want to be able to digest that food and get it to pass through the tract. Constipation is another big one I see in people. Constipation is quite serious, actually, because if you are not eliminating why do you eliminate? You eliminate because you're getting rid of the toxins and the waste, and your poor liver has to filter everything before you're pushing everything out. If you are constipated, this includes like toxins, hormones, if you're estrogen dominant, the liver has to process all of that. It goes through ready to be dropped out. If you haven't gone, it has to be processed again. It's now getting concentrated the more and more times it goes around. In clinic, the way I've been taught with functional medicine is, if somebody's constipated, if they have got, say, stiff joints quite a lot of the time, if they have other issues like their gait is quite wide when they walk in. Parkinson's disease comes 15 to 20 years before a person ever gets that first tremor. These are signs that you're looking out for. This is how important the gut microbiome, the gut diversity, the gut function is in a person. You can look at diseases way before they come. Blood sugar balance is also important. A lot of people have type 2 diabetes nowadays. The way to get around that is to eat fiber, eat fat, eat protein. That fiber is super important. All the colors that come out of those vegetables, all the different vegetables have different antioxidant properties. They have different phytonutrients, and they are serving different parts. Like all the orange vegetables, for example, high in vitamin A, they're good for your immune system, they're good for your eyes. All the reds and the purples are good for the brain and the heart. So different colors produce different diversity. Those fibers also feed that gut microbiome. It's keeping it healthy. It's keeping that villi nice and strong. Other foods you can eat, like vitamin D, you go out into the sun. If you've got darker skin, 30 minutes is needed. A good tip to know whether vitamin D is being absorbed or not when you're outside is, if your shadow is shorter than you, the sun is high up enough in the sky for you to be absorbing some vitamin D. But foods that are rich in vitamin D are things like butter. I know a lot of people be vegetarian, eggs, and certain oily fish, but vitamin D is actually a hormone and not a vitamin, and people don't know this. And so your body needs to synthesize. You need good cholesterol. That what happens is the sun hits your skin, you've got receptors under the skin, and you need cholesterol. That is then carried, filtered through the kidneys and liver, and then produced and made into vitamin D. A lot of people, especially from the Asian subcontinent, have a genetic variant problem with conversion of their vitamin D. So it's a crucial one for immunity. It's a crucial one for gut health. So get your vitamin D levels checked on a regular basis. If you are supplementing with vitamin D, obviously this is just general advice. I can't advise you individually because I don't know your cases and your blood sugar, your blood test results. This is just generally. If you're not on blood thinners and you haven't got issues with your heart and things, vitamin D3 and K2 are good to take together because they're good for bone health. K2 is needed to get that vitamin D into the bones. So generally, those are good foods. Ghee, people are often very scared of ghee, but ghee in moderation is actually very good. It's high in butyrate. Butyrate is a postbiotic. So you've got prebiotics. Prebiotic foods are things like onion, garlic, artichokes, things like that are prebiotic. They're feeding, they're fuel for that gut microbiome. Then you've got probiotics. Probiotics are made from fermented foods. You've got things like sauerkraut, pickles, kimchi. Then you've got postbiotics. There are two types of postbiotics. You've got good postbiotics, which are butyrate, which are found in things like ghee. And you've got bad postbiotics, which are lipopolysaccharides. Lipopolysaccharides are the proteins that go and damage that gut lining, and those are the bigger proteins that are bad for you. So butyrate is a good one. So a little bit of ghee is really good in lining that gut. Other things, bitter foods, don't forget bitter foods. We all forget bitter foods now. Things like fenugreek seeds, grapefruit, if you're not on blood thinners and blood pressure medication, because grapefruit actually can interfere with the half-life of your blood pressure medication. But things like rocket salad is great. Get a little bit of rocket salad, put some olive oil on there with a little bit of lemon and salt before you have your meal. Chew it really well. That stimulates that gallbladder to produce the bile, and then that is going to help you with bile production and bile sludge, essential fatty acids. So if you can take fish oils, do the oily fish oils. If you're not doing that, then flax seeds, hemp seeds, walnuts, in moderation. Everything has got to be balanced, remember. Don't forget, like your calcium, if you're vegetarian or vegan, sesame seeds and fortified milks will be higher in, and broccoli and your dark leafy greens, they're going to be higher in your calcium. Another tip for vitamin D is mushrooms, especially when it's sunny right now. If you get your mushrooms and you turn them upside down and you put them on the window ledge, on your kitchen window, or on anywhere that's sunny, that little bit of sunshine will hit the gills of the underside of the mushrooms, and it will help to put a little bit more vitamin D into your mushrooms. So that's just a little tip. So antioxidants are from your fruits and your vegetables and your different colored, your rainbow. Remember that rainbow. Remember there's no beige in the rainbow. And then you have got just making sure that you've got enough good oils from nuts. When I say nuts and seeds, I get people to usually soak their nuts and seeds or sprout them. They're much more easier for digestion. Things like almonds have got toxins under their skin, and they can be quite aggravating for people with gut issues. Again, little handfuls, not lots and lots. Soak it. Chew your food, sprout your seeds, eat mindfully. Don't eat at your desk and in a hurry. And if you're sitting down to eat, make sure you're sitting there, you're taking your time, you're breathing. And remember, if you have got issues with your small intestine, you've got problems with leaky gut and things, you are going to have problems with absorption. You're going to have problems with B12. You're going to have problems with iron. This is a lot of, I see this all the time in clinic. Magnesium is another thing we are so depleted in. So magnesium you get from your dark leafy greens, your broccolis, your kales, your spinaches, things like that. Often people have an issue with lectins from chickpeas and things like that. Gives them a lot of stomach problems and gas. So a little tip I have for that is soak really, really, really well. Soak for like 24 to 48 hours. So if you are going to cook something, say in 2 days' time, you soak this morning. Every time you go in the kitchen, if you're going to make a tea or you're doing something, rinse it, re-soak it, rinse it, re-soak it. Keep doing that, because lectins, these beans and things have got, in nature, they've got a protective layer on them. What that does is it's protecting them, they're protecting themselves from insects and things getting to them. And we cannot digest things often. So the way for getting around that is to soak and rinse it to try and get rid of quite a lot of those lectins. And then when you pressure cook these things, add in a little bit of bicarbonate of soda, like a pinch, just to soften it up a little bit more. So that will help it become more easily digestible for you. If you're having real problems with like stomach acid, a good way of trying to see if it will help you is to get some raw apple cider vinegar with mother. So you get a bottle, it says raw apple cider vinegar, and with mother is the little bit of you'll see if you lift the bottle up, it's got like this residue in it. That is what's feeding that apple cider vinegar. And what you do is you put maybe a tablespoon into a little bit of water, mix it, drink it with a straw, because it's very citric. The citric acid in there will damage your teeth if you're drinking it straight up, and see if that helps. And you can do that just before a meal or halfway through your meal to see if it will break down some of the proteins for you, if it's going to ease digestion. So that's another tip. and obviously doing your meditation, your deep breathing, making sure that you are taking that time to appreciate your food, eating it slowly, chewing it. Remember what I said about saliva and how important it is to be producing that amylase to swallow. But I think I'm nearly out of time. So if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer. I hope that was helpful. And I'll pass it back to Kalpa, who is going to talk to you more about breathing and that mindful eating that I was talking about.
Thanks, Nishtha. Does anybody have any questions? A few quick questions. We see Shalon. There's some, yeah, if you want to raise your hand.
Hi, Nishita, for such a lovely talk. I have in my family colitis and Crohn's problem. So how do I get in contact with you?
I'm on Instagram. I've got a website. My website is thegutexpert.com.
Thegutexpert.com. Okay.
And that,
because I'm not on Instagram.
But that's my website, so you can get on my website, thegutexpert.com, or on Instagram. If anybody's on Instagram, it's thegutexpert_. I also run my own Facebook group, which is called Nishtha Patel, the Gut Expert. Every day I put tips of different things in there, and every Friday I do a live with different people. That's just a free group I run to give people as much information as I can. So,
Facebook is Nishtha Patel.
Nishtha Patel -- the Gut Expert.
And is Crohn's? Have you had people, patients where Crohn is managed or cured over time?
I specialize in Crohn's and colitis because my own child has got colitis. Well, she was diagnosed with Crohn's colitis at the age of 15, and that's how I got into all of this, because the medicine I could not handle what was going on with education, and so I took it into. I was told diet doesn't matter. I was told supplements are a waste of money. She went from being a robust 14-year-old girl to a sick looking, she looked like an old woman. Her bones were aching, somebody sat on her finger, her finger broke, her skin, steroids, that she was put on chemotherapy, drugs, the lot. Anyway, I started studying nutrition, and then I went on to study functional medicine in my 40s, and I'm in my 50s now. But when I started, I changed everything, and when they did her colonoscopy, it came back clear. Now, you can't say to anybody that you can cure an autoimmune disease. You can't say cure, because you put it into remission. The aim of the game is to figure, every person is different. You can have 10 people with this disease, and you will not have, those people have different triggers. Like for my daughter, it's stress. It's very much stress. Exams, guaranteed there's going to be a flare up, right? But then it's managing that stress. How do you manage? Diet is fine, and really, anybody with autoimmune disease, I say go everybody should be anti-inflammatory. First of all, we should all be eating anti-inflammatory diets, but for those patients, it's much more important. And gluten, dairy, soy, sugar, 4 things that annihilate the gut. So those have to come out. So what my daughter has done, she started off her own Instagram page where she's helping other people by doing recipes on there. She's doing a lot of recipes on there that are gluten and dairy free, or mainly dairy, very low lactose, and that are nice and tasty, and so that they're not missing out, because youngsters often feel like they're missing out because their friends are all going off and eating junk. And she's taken on to healthy food now, so it is, and she's teaching other people. People love her recipes and they're recooking them. So her Instagram is thenotecook_. So, but she's also got thenotecook.com, so you can also go on the website if you haven't got Instagram. But she's got lots of really lovely recipes on there.
Thank you so much. I'll get in touch with you from your website, get your number and everything. Thank you so much. That is such a peace of mind that it can be managed with diet and stress. Yeah,
it is managing the disease. It's finding out the triggers. I'm actually going to be doing a really big podcast in 2 weeks' time, the Broken Brain podcast, and it's going to be on inflammatory bowel disease. I'll put that on my socials and on my website near at the time. And I am just in negotiations right now with Crohn's colitis lifestyle in America, which is like massive. He's doing really great work, and he had colitis himself, and he almost died twice. This guy is amazing, and we're putting our brains together and trying to bring this. He wants me to be the face of Crohn's colitis UK, so I'm just in negotiations with him now, and he's got a brilliant program on there, because a lot of this is to do with mindset too, especially with youngsters. And Crohn's colitis starts very, very early on. I'm seeing babies come in with Crohn's colitis. It's so sad, and it's a disease that people don't know about. And believe me, it's affecting more and more people in about it. And we all know about cancer. We know about other diseases, but this one is sadly affecting more and more of our youngsters, and it's prevalent in South Asia now, Southeast Asia, and stuff where it never used to be. And I think this is down to the industrialization and chemicals and things we put in our food chain now. It's so sad, and our microbiome is completely changing. So
thank you so much. Such a peace of mind. Thank you. I'll get in touch with you. Thanks.
Nishta, hello, Nishta. Is chronic urticaria treatable? Chronic urticaria.
Yeah, you are going to be
functional medicine.
You can help to manage it. You may have histamine issues. Again, it's coming from the gut, completely coming from the gut.
Nishta, may I ask a question, please? You talked about lectin in chickpeas, and I believe is that in red kidney beans and all the beans and pulses. And I know you said to soak it for 24 to 48 hours. What was the other thing you said about apple cider vinegar with something which I didn't quite get? Sorry.
Apple cider vinegar with mother. It should say on the bottle when you go to buy it, like Holland and Barrett, even Sainsbury's and stuff. I use organic apple cider vinegar with mother. So it should say with mother. Mother, if you lift the bottle up and look at the bottom, it's got like this. What is that? It's like bits in there.
Yes.
Those bits are feed. They're doing a little bit of probiotic work for that.
Okay. And have that half an hour before you're consuming. Is that what you said as well?
You can have it depending on how you're digesting your food. If you're having real issues digesting your food, take it just before your meal. Just before you start your meal, or even halfway through your meal. And see if that helps to break that food down. If you're getting any relief,
this is how it looks.
Yes, that brags.
Okay.
It says with the mother.
That's the one.
Yes. So what brand is that?
And how much do you take it?
1 tablespoon. Start with a teaspoon if you're quite acidic. Now, if you get any burning, you may have an ulcer or something. You need to check with the doctor then, because generally.
So, do you dissolve in water? Do you dissolve in water and have it, or you just have it on its own?
No, because it's bad for your teeth. Put it in a little bit of water and drink it with a straw.
Mm-hmm. Can you put some honey in it, or should you not?
No, just have it.
Okay. Because someone told me that you should have this first thing in the morning. Is that right? Or can you have it
in the morning? Is great because it stimulates that bile production. It gets the HCG stimulate things, and the bitter also helps. So if you're having problems with your digesting fat, the methi seeds, fenugreek seeds, you can put overnight. Put them in a glass of water in the morning. Drink that water.
Okay.
Chew those seeds really, really well. That will help with anything bitter is going to help your bile. production.
Right. No, I have problems with arthritis, and that's why I wanted to know, what helpful tips. And someone said to me about this apple sanding. Is that correct? Or for arthritis?
That is, you will be having stuff going on with your gut too. So there'll be leaky gut going on there with arthritis. You will also, lectins are probably not great for you because they can damage the gut more. Nightshades are sometimes a problem for people with, so nightshades are your pepper family and aubergines and things like that. So those are not great for arthritis sometimes. And I would try an elimination diet. I mean, work with a practitioner. Don't just do it on your own. But if you eliminate gluten, dairy, nightshades for 6 weeks, see if it makes a difference in your arthritic pain.
Okay.
Often it makes a really big difference.
Yes. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your advice. Thank you.
So great. Thank you, Nishta, so much for that very useful and informative session. I really enjoyed that, and we hope that you all really also enjoyed that. So I'll take literally 3 minutes of your time now, and we'll recap on some of the key things that were covered and some other things that we'll look at. So along with correct diet and nutrition, some exercise is beneficial. Then moving on to the biggest factor that influences gut health, stress, as Nishta mentioned, and how breathing exercises and meditation are so important. In the Art of Living, we offer a world-renowned program. It really is, a complete package that teaches practical skills that enhance all aspects of life. Yet the core components are powerful breathing techniques that eliminate stress from the root, from the cellular level. They're rejuvenating the system from the core, boosting health on all levels, physical, mental, emotional, and it leaves us feeling, so calm, rejuvenated, energized, and much happier. One of the main techniques that we teach is known as the Sky technique or Sudarshan Kriya, and this technique is unique to the Art of Living. And there has been so much research done on the Sky technique, which shows tremendous impact on the system and benefits. So what we'll do now is we'll watch literally a few minutes of video that explains the power of breath and the summary of some of the scientific research on the Sky technique that's happened. And it explains it so well. It's a cartoon version of the video, and it's one of my favorite videos. So we're going to watch that in a second, but definitely do join our upcoming Art of Living program, which is now known as the Meditation and Breath Workshop. We have one coming up at the end of May. If I share my screen for the date, so you have them like in front of you to remember. So we have a very special course coming up at the end of May, 28th, 29th and 30th of May. Literally 3 sessions, 3 hours each day, 6:30 p.m. onwards. Friday, Saturday, 2:30 p.m. and Sunday, 2:30 p.m. And a very nice discount of 40% off, being Art of Living's 40th birthday this year, bringing the course fee down to only £180. So definitely do come and learn the techniques that we teach, that really enhances life overall, and physical, mental, emotional, all the health all throughout, including other systems. So let's move on to watching the video now, and we'll see you again. Thank you.
If we attend to our breath, our whole system gets rejuvenated. manipulating the breathing, you can change the emotions. Everybody wants peace. Peace is an innate need of people. But they don't know how to get rid of the negative emotions, negative tendencies, anger and frustration. That education is needed in the world today, to teach people how to let go of the negativity, let go of the past and move to the future. Whenever you smile from your heart, that moment is the biggest celebration. And if you keep smiling from your heart, your whole life is a celebration. A violence-free society, disease-free body, confusion-free mind, inhibition-free intellect, trauma-free memory and sorrow-free soul. This is what one can achieve by learning about breath.